Hey y'all, it's Kristen here. I'm out on a walk with the dogs, and I brought my selfie stick with me today because I was answering a burning question from one of my people on my email list who just responded to a survey that I put out there, and I said as a thank you that I would answer her question and in a personal way. So I sent her a personalized video, but I just decided it was a good question and that I might as well repeat it for all of you. So the question was, how do we move from a winter season into a spring season without stress? So first of all, just to back up a little bit, in the Wildwoven Way, which is my framework for moving through transformation, I invite you to take a quiz, a survey, to find out what season of transformation you're actually in. And then I provide some recommendations for how to move through that season in a way that honors you, your nervous system, nature, and recognizes the traps that society puts us into. So, and if you're interested in finding out where you are in that transformation, I will drop the link to that quiz in the description. And then to move on to answer her question, of course, it's not a simple answer, because there's no such thing as moving from any season to any other season, or from, not in transformation into transformation without stress. The thing about our brains is that they like to keep us in homeostasis. They like to keep us in our comfort zone. So even if the transformation is one that we chose, or even if it's no matter what, there's always going to be stress, right? So there's no, the answer to that is there is no way to do it without stress. But the other thing about life is that there's also no growth without moving outside your comfort zone and outside homeostasis into the edge, right? The learning edge. But sometimes, and in her case, this is true, sometimes when it's not of our own choosing, let's say something or someone that we loved and relied on as part of our identity is taken from us, then we didn't have a choice over it. And that can be even harder. Oh my gosh, this stuff. Speaking of nature, I just cut this back a week and a half ago. I need to come out here with my clippers. That's a patch of salmonberry bushes that are growing in my path, and that was hard to get through. And I'm also now all wet because it rained, and so it was on the bushes. But anyway, my point is that when it's something that happens that's not of our choosing, it can be even harder and can put our, when any chunk of our identity is taken away from us, whether we choose it or not, it's hard. But when we don't choose it, it's even harder. We can feel like Alice in Wonderland falling through the rabbit hole, or like a caterpillar turning to goo inside its cocoon. And if you lose all 5 pillars of your identity, which I talk about in other places, and I can put a link to that there too, then it can feel like you're a caterpillar turning into goo without the support of a stick. So, having said that, how do you move from the season of winter, which is, so the season of autumn is usually when the thing happens, the way that I look at it with transformation. Autumn can also be looking backwards to harvest the things that are behind you, and that's if it's one that you choose. And any of these things, we shouldn't skip them. Sometimes things happen, and so we end up going back again, right? If multiple things happen, we end up moving back into the season of releasing again and again and again. But society will have us try to move from grief into production way too fast, and that is just not healthy. It tends to lead to burnout if we don't have a chance to move at our own pace through these seasons. So, having said all that, the season of autumn is the release. The season of winter is when we really need to just root in and be, right? Society tries to make winter be non-existent. They have come up with ways to try to fast track food production, for example, without having this rest period. But it is not healthy, it is not natural, and it's not good for us to not honor the winter. So that's step one, is to honor the season that you're in, honor the emotions. Brene Brown calls these the hard emotions, but they're things like grief and anxiety and anger and those kinds of things. And I talk in many other places, and I can put a link to this down here too, about how all of this works inside our body. But the point is that you want to honor those when they arise, because when you stop resisting feeling those emotions, you create space. And if you don't stop resisting them, they're just going to keep coming back. There's the saying, that which you resist persists, right? And so it's true. So you need to stop resisting them and just allowing them to be. And I know that sometimes when you're grieving, it just feels like you're going to fall in, or if you're depressed, it feels like you're going to fall into that emotion and never come back out. But the physicality of emotions, they say that when you actually lean into it, that it moves through you in a short amount of time. Now, obviously, I might come back again and again if you're grieving or anxious or things like that. But the first step is to not resist it, but to allow it to move through your body and honor its presence. It's there for a reason. It's there because it's giving you a signal about something going on in your life. So the next piece of that is giving yourself time to root in. Again, if you plant a spring bulb in the fall, right? It needs that winter of coldness and of rooting in before it can blossom in the spring. If you plant a bulb in the spring, it's likely going to wait until the next winter or to the next spring before it actually comes to life, because it needs that winter season in order to bloom. Same with trees and bushes. They need the winter season to root in, to put their roots down deep. And so that's what your body needs. And I know this isn't always easy in our society, the way that our society works. There's so much pressure to produce, to be productive, to be profitable, like all of those things. And I know, like, if you are the sole breadwinner of your family or whatever, that it's not easy to allow yourself to just root in. But that's why I believe, that is why when being able to ask for support and help from your friends, being able to be in a position where, and I talk about this in other places too, and I can link to it, to where you can get that support from other people. And then thirdly, there are a few practices that you can use. My favorite is called the Inner Sanctuary Meditation. And this is a combination of something I learned from Heart Math and nature practices. And it's really just about dropping your awareness into your heart, breathing a little more deeply than usual, and allowing your breath to flow in and out through this heart area, keeping your attention in the heart. And this tool allows you to, and 30 seconds, right? It's not a long time. Even 10 seconds is helpful to just drop out of your head where all of the anxiety is happening, right? Or grief, those kinds of things. And if you're, I will add, if you're grieving, your heart will help you grieve more because you're dropping into your heart, and that's where grief happens, is in your heart. But there's some pieces of it that are tied up into your reptilian brain and your mammalian brain, and those pieces, when they drop into your heart, can help let go of that spiral in your brain. And there are other sensory practices that help to calm your nervous system that I have here on my YouTube channel. And I'll put links to those too. And then next is, winter won't be rushed. I think I mentioned this already, but winter shouldn't be rushed. And so we need to allow ourselves the time that it takes to process, to root, to listen to our inner wisdom instead of popping back out into the brain and trying to micromanage a natural process, right? And just giving ourselves that time. And then also, just another tip that I tossed in for her is that we all have this platoon of protectors, and ours are unique to us. They were created when we were young to help us belong, to help us feel safe, to help us be independent. And they have a tendency to get activated and try to keep us safe. But when they have their way to keep us safe, it's actually keeping us away from the things that we need to be doing in this time of transformation in order to move us through it. So I'll also drop that in the link. I have a quiz you can take to help you figure out what your platoon of protectors, that's what I call it, how they work with you. And so hope that's helpful. And I know there was a lot in here. I probably should have broken this into several different pieces, and I will, like I do and I have in other places, but I just wanted to give the answer to this question because I think that it's such a good and profound question with no easy answers, but these are some of the pieces that I shared with my person. So take care, everyone. I hope you're having a great day today, and I'll talk to you again soon.